Welcome to TradeSense, where Windward brings together the brightest minds in global trade, maritime and AI, to break down the biggest developments shaping our industry. I'm Jonathann Zenou, Director of DevSecOps at Windward, and in each short episode, we go beyond the buzzwords to deliver insights that matter. Today, we are diving into privacy and security in the age of AI with Michael Shapira, Senior Solution Architect at AWS. Hey, Michael, thank you for joining us today. How are you going?
I'm doing great. Excited to talk about generative AI and especially about security and privacy.
Great. Let's get into it. So, Michael, data privacy in AI is no longer a bonus. It's business critical for companies accelerating AI adoption. In global trade, how has Gen AI changed the way we approach data privacy?
So first, the scale and scope has changed dramatically because traditional systems actually process structured data with very clear boundaries. We use databases where the data was well organized, but generative AI ingests massive amounts of unstructured data, shipping documents, communications, sensor data, and it making it harder to control what sensitive information actually enters the system. Secondly, the attack surface has changed. Previously, we secured APIs. We did it with well-defined parameters, but now with natural language interfaces, user can basically input anything, potentially exposing confidential trade secrets, customer data, compliance sensitive information, without even realizing they are doing it. And the last one is inference. Inference is another word for machine learning prediction. So AI models can derive sensitive insights from something that looks innocent by combining those sources. I will give you an example. We can combine shipping patterns with commodity prices and potentially reveal business strategies.
I see what you mean, but it feels to me a little bit that the Gen AI era is the right successor to the cloud computing era. It was the biggest revolution we had right before the Gen AI revolution. And the thing is, when the cloud computing revolution arrived, it gave us the possibility to solve a lot of problem of scales, problem of elasticity. And right now we're arriving and we are taking care of this problem with the Gen AI technologies. So the thing is, do you feel at AWS that the scale and the infrastructure that we have today is capable of serving Gen AI technology to its fullest potential and by still respecting and taking care of all the data privacy aspect of it?
The short answer is yes. Approaching generative AI technology is not different from the security perspective of AWS because security is basically our day one job. But here we have some partnership with customers like you because, for example, AWS brings deep security expertise that would be expensive for individual shipping companies to develop in-house. But meanwhile, companies like Windward bring maritime domain expertise that pure tech companies like AWS lack. And we can work together to build more secure and robust solution. For example, when the security threat emerge, like maybe AI-specific attacks, AWS can respond faster since it operates in multiple domains. It allows AWS to learn attack pattern faster and develop mitigation processes quicker. This is in contradiction to individual companies working in isolation, but to understand the risks which you face as a company, we need your expertise.
Auditability and explainability are often missing in Gen AI discussions. Why is it essential for maritime stakeholders to have full traceability and human oversight in AI-driven decision-making?
I can think about several reasons. The first one is regulatory compliance, because maritime is heavily regulated. And when AI makes this decision about routing, cargo handling, or port operations, regulators like IMO, International Maritime Organization, need to understand the decision-making process. Without clear audit trails, you risk non-compliance with international shipping regulations. Another possible reason is financial risk management, because a single AI-driven decision may impact millions of dollars in cargo, vessel positioning, fuel cost. When something goes wrong, you need to trace back through the decision chain to understand what happened and prevent recurrence. Something else is, for example, human in the loop. For critical decisions like emerging routing or cargo prioritization, we probably prefer to put human validation for high-stakes choices, right? It doesn't mean that we cannot use another AI system, and we have an even official name for this, AI as a judge, to review the primary decision and advise us whether it was wrong or was it correct. And maybe the last item that I want to mention is insurances, because maritime insurance require explainable AI systems. So if an AI recommends a route leads to delays or incidents, you need clear documentation of the decision and rationale for claim processing.
I completely agree with you. I would even say on the top of this that from a product point of view, Gen AI technologies are like super handy and they can really help you improve the productivity of your development flow or anything. It's something that I read several times online. They are saying that Gen AI are one of the greatest liars that can be. And I think that if you are not able to audit or to explain the behavior, if you are not even looking to check the behavior of your Gen AI pipeline and your Gen AI decision, you can find yourself with an algorithm that will give you what you want to hear, and it won't be the truth. It will be what you were pushing this flow to answer. I think, yes, auditability and explainability are like angular stone to be able for us human to rely on those Gen AI technology and all those AI-driven decision making.
Absolutely right. We even have an official name for this. It is called hallucination, because the AI models actually are statistic models. Okay, they produce output based on statistics, which may lead in some cases to, let's call it, not proper answers. And we want to mitigate such responses, and we have tools to mitigate such responses. But of course, if still such a response happened, we need proper tool to audit and trace it back.
Auditability and explainability are great, but sometimes it feels like we need to go a little bit higher than that. So security and compliance standards like ISO 27001 are table stakes, but are they enough? What should organizations be looking for beyond certificate when they're evaluating AI partners?
Well, standards like ISO are mandatory, okay? They are the basics, the foundation. But when evaluating AI partners, you want to dig deeper into several areas, like does a partner publish the security architecture publicly? Can they explain the network isolation, data resiliency policies, incident response procedure? Transparency builds trust. Can they show you exactly how the data flows through the system? Where is it processed? How long is it retained? Can you verify deletion of the data? Another aspect is maritime AI often requires integration with port systems, shipping lines, and regulatory databases. How does your partner secure those integration points? What is a vendor risk management process? You may also ask for anonymized case studies from your partner of how they handle security incidents, because a partner who's never had an incident probably isn't being honest with you or isn't looking hard enough. Maritime operates globally, but data often has residency requirements. Can your partner demonstrate compliance with regulations like GDPR, CCPA, or local maritime data protective laws?
Yes, Michael, it makes perfect sense. I have been discovering lately that ISO created all kinds of new standards that are completely AI oriented. But the question that I'm asking myself is, as of today, a standard like ISO 27001 recognized because a lot of other companies are recognizing its value. But what is about all those new ISO standards because it seems to me like they are too new for other partners to seek at something that they can base and they can build their trust on.
Well, you're absolutely right, because those standards actually exist for years. I'm not sure how good do they fit to the new landscape of generative AI. Probably we'll see in the near future some new dedicated standard which deals specifically with the security issues.
Now let's talk partnership. Windward and AWS both emphasize collaboration in delivering secure AI solutions. So what role does a tech ecosystem play in safeguarding trade operation, and what are the advantages of a shared responsibility in data protection?
Good question. In AWS shared responsibility model, we at AWS handle the infrastructure security, network isolation, physical security, encryption at rest, encryption at transit, and the different platform level compliances. That lets you as a customer focus entirely on application level security and on the business logic. If we are talking about the partnership, instead of one company bearing all the security risks, it is actually distributed across partners who specializes in different areas: cloud infrastructure, AI security, and maritime operations. The key is clear delineation of responsibilities, because AWS secures infrastructure, Windward secures application, and together we create a more robust security posture than either could achieve alone.
Exactly, this is the kind of point where I'm wondering, because when we are looking at the shared responsibility model, sometimes you can have some areas we are just falling between the two chairs. So could it be that especially Gen AI technologies can help us bridge those gaps? AWS has some part in their responsibility around security. Windward has some part in their responsibility around security. And then we could have like some kind of agentic flow that will look at how both sides are configured, and it could say, okay, it looks like you have a gap there, it looks like you have a gap there, and it could help us to build an even more robust solution based on it.
Well, it's not kind of I'm aware about such a development effort being done. It doesn't really mean that it is not done. Agentic AI is definitely a very hot topic now. Again, this is a key phrase here. It may be that we can actually reduce the gap by using agentic AI, but it will require some effort, which is not neglectable. But this is actually a great idea, and maybe Windward will be the pioneer in this area and propose something that eventually everyone will use.
Sounds great. So looking ahead, what's the one security principle every maritime stakeholder should adopt?
Well, this is really not a simple question, but if I had to choose one principle, it probably would be zero trust for data. Because in traditional maritime security, we focused on perimeter defense, secure the network, secure the system. But with AI, data is the most valuable and vulnerable asset. Every piece of information, from vessel location to cargo manifest to commercial negotiation, should be treated as potentially sensitive. Basically, it means that you need to classify everything. Know what data you have, where it is stored, and who can access it. Minimize exposure. Only share the minimum data necessary for each AI task. Continuous monitoring. Monitor not just who access your data, but how AI system process and potentially expose the data. And of course, plan for when, not if, plan for when your data get compromised. Because in maritime, where a single leak cargo manifest can impact commodity markets or reveal strategic shipping routes, treating every data interaction with suspicion isn't a paranoia, it's just business survival.
That's it for this episode of TradeSense. Thank you for joining us, Michael. It was great to unpack how AI is impacting data, privacy, and security.
Of course, Jonathann, I was happy to be here and address your questions. And I hope that you, me, and the rest of the audience learned something from this session.
Great. And if you find this episode informative and useful, please share this video and follow Windward for more insight. And stay tuned. We've got another expert conversation coming up soon.